It's GameCube Index, and believe it or not, this is a game about Sylvester Stallone. You may be surprised, as I was, to learn that Driven is based on the 2001 action drama film of the same name, directed by Renny Harlin, who's known for Die Hard 2 and not much else, and starring Sylvester Stallone, who's known for Stop or My Mom Will Shoot and not much else. But after finally getting together after those two masterpieces, Driven redefined how much a man can feel regret. The video game adaptation does not make this media franchise that much better. Originally released in November of 2001 for the PS2, Driven both missed the release window of the movie by 6 months and received terrible reviews due to severe gameplay issues. The GameCube port, which is the one that we care about today, tried to fix some of the handling problems and was eventually released in March of 2002, nearly a full year after the movie bombed in theaters. The storyline loosely follows the movie, which is about a seasoned racer mentoring a young, fresh face. Sylvester Stallone and a few other actors reprise their roles and provide actual voiceovers, which is great if you want the main character to sound like he has marbles in his mouth. Now, don't get me wrong, I normally love and understand Stallone, but for some reason in Driven, I could barely make out what his dialogue was. The cutscenes are presented as a voiceover track, and when a character is talking, a cartoon of their face shows up on screen, so there's no actual video part to the cutscenes. It makes for kind of a strange aesthetic, considering that this is a game based on a movie. The story is cool in that it brings you to 8 different tracks across the world, but the legwork required to get you there is really rough. Gameplay is near broken. It's handled like you'd expect a racing game to play. You push the button for the gas and steer around the track. Only half of the buttons on the controller are used, however, which came as a surprise, and most of those buttons are used for changing the camera position. If you do a good job driving, a meter will fill, which when maxed out puts you in the zone, providing much better handling and speed. The zone is shown by severely blurring the lines of the screen, limiting the view but boosting performance. Depending on the track, it can be really tough to enter the zone, but it's best not to rely on it. We've dealt with vehicle handling before in this series, in Spy Hunter, and a little bit in James Bond 007 Agent Under Fire, and they both handled cars much better than this dedicated car game does. Turning is sloppy, braking doesn't really do that much, and it's all around just a mess to play. I can't even imagine what the PS2 version must have been like if this is considered an improvement. Driven was developed by BAM Entertainment, whose catalog mostly consisted of Cartoon Network gaming adaptations. It's the first straight-up racing game to be released on the GameCube, which is the most interesting thing about this title. There was never a sequel to Driven. The next game to tackle this type of racing would be F1 2002, which we'll talk about more in episode 60. Sylvester Stallone's next movie was Detox, which did not receive a game adaptation. He has since said that he regrets making the movie Driven, and I'm willing to bet that if BAM Entertainment was still around, they'd feel the same way about the game. That is it for this week's episode of GameCube Index. If you enjoy the videos every week, consider backing us on Patreon. Even $1 a month will do a lot to support the project and help improve the experience. It's entirely up to you. Either way, please continue to show your support by subscribing, sharing, following along on Twitter at GCNdex and at GCNdex.com. Thank you so much for watching. Tune in next time when we go back to that first wave of superhero hype in Spider-Man.